Welcome back. We're serving the perfect Saturday night meal if you're planning on an evening in front of the telly.
Beautiful. Caroline Gray, editor of Easy Food magazine, is saying she's got a taste of Italy right here.
Well,
it's American Italy.
It's Italian-American. We'll go with that.
I have spaghetti meatballs.
Spaghetti and meatballs.
Beautiful.
There's only one person who's authentic American here who can use
right.
that accent
That's right.
now.
Beautiful.
Right now.
Thank you.
We'll keep it going. We got 8 minutes of this.
Right, so
You mentioned earlier on it's a recipe at the difference. A lot of people love to make
Yeah,
meatballs.
definitely.
They stick to the same recipe and usually don't deviate. Why should we?
I think because it's one of those things, it is simple to make. Everybody does love it, but sometimes it can be a bit of a letdown. Meatballs, it's, you know, it can be just such a delicious meal in themselves. So I think if you put enough time, not even time, but if you put enough of the right ingredients and love into the meatballs themselves, it's just a phenomenal dish. Okay. So it is one of the things, every time I go home, it's the one thing I insist my dad, like, he's from New York, and this is the one thing that he has to make for me every time.
Let's
do it. Let's do it.
Meatballs.
So first off, I'm just going to get the pasta into the water here. The pasta. Yeah. We're doing
We love how you speak. Right?
As we say over here.
We do, don't we?
Over here in the corner.
So you're using tagliatelle?
It's tagliatelle, yeah. So of course you can do, you know, whichever pasta you like the best. Okay. Spaghetti is obviously the traditional.
But you can use a penne if you want, or
you
whatever.
Can use a penne, use anything.
Whatever floats your boat.
Whatever floats your boat is right. So that's only going to take a few minutes. So that should be done by the time we're ready to go.
Because we're going to be eating. In
yeah, there we go.
That's true. No pressure, though, Caroline.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so you have the pasta on. What are we putting in our bowl?
So into this is just a heavy casserole dish. And this is what the meatballs are going to fry off in here, and then they're going to bake. So we're going to just get started. This is kind of on like a medium-high heat.
I'll get this going here.
Get the pasta back up.
Beautiful.
So we're going to start with the base of the meatballs. We got some chopped onions here. We're just going to go right in. That's about like 1 chopped onion, some crushed garlic, chopped garlic.
Okay.
And chopped parsley, fresh parsley. So literally you're just going to saute that off.
And you're doing this different. You're going to finish these in the oven.
Going to finish these in the oven, exactly. So again, sometimes meatballs, you literally just see them and it's just kind of like beef mince, salt, pepper, that's it, throw them in a sauce. And, you know, it does the job, but, you know, you can make them that bit more special. So salt and pepper.
But if you do them on the pan, a lot of times you end up burning them on the outside anyway, so.
You can, yeah, but a lot of people would start on the pan, just get a colour on them.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to do.
They can be a little anemic looking if you just put them straight in the pot or straight in the oven.
Straight in.
So colour them and then slow cook them.
And would you add sort of crackers or anything like that to it?
Yep.
For a bit of crunch?
So we have the base. We have the onions, the garlic, the parsley here. That's just to soften them up and get them just to blend a little bit. This is the beef. So this is the meat mix. We have half beef mince and half pork mince. Okay. And the pork is really the key there. If anything, sometimes you can kind of add, if you had, say, even like ground veal, you want a fatty meat to balance the beef because that's really going to add the texture.
That's a very American thing because if you're doing your burgers, you might do a bit of a mix as well. But also in hot dogs, they'd use beef and pork.
Yeah, totally. Like it would be, It's just that, again, the beef, depending on the type you get, you can, it can just be a bit dry.
Okay.
So the pork kind of balances it out. So we got
on the
gloves going.
Mix them all together,
So this is, you're talking about crackers. We have breadcrumbs here. So these are just going to go right in, and that's going to help bind the meatballs. So between that and then...
So you don't need to, do you put in egg as well?
1 beaten egg.
Ah, very good. Because do you know what? I omitted that by accident a while ago. They all fell apart.
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then just
they were too
You
dry.
got your binding agent.
I did.
You did.
You were too dry.
You're an awful woman for getting your binding agent. Yeah.
So we'll
Sorry,
get
Caroline,
mixing.
carry on.
So this is the thing. So now is where, and actually the last bit, Simon, can you hand me the Parmesan cheese, please?
Parmigiano, you
Parmesan.
like a
Oh, lovely.
Yes, I'd say about half of that in the bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of cheese.
It's a lot of cheese. That's perfect.
Beautiful.
So this is where, that's really the base of the meatballs. You can see, you know, between the cheese and the breadcrumbs, that's really enough to kind of enough starch to kind of bind the meatballs together. And then with the sautéed garlic and onion and parsley, the flavor in that is really going to make a big difference.
And if it's too loose, just add a little bit more breadcrumb.
Exactly. So add a little bit. You just want them to kind of hold their shape together like that. So you know, form them. I have some pre-formed meatballs here.
Good. Lovely. How much meat did you put in? Was that 500?
500 grams of each.
Okay.
Exactly. And then that should leave you enough for...
And those meatballs are a fairly substantial size.
They are a substantial size. So this here, now again, you can make them any size you want. Typically, like the golf ball size is good to go with. Got another glug of oil there. And this is where we're going to brown them off. So just get them right into the pan.
And this is just, as Simon was saying, just put a bit of colour on them.
This is just to get the color going on them. And, you know, again, you don't necessarily want to burn them per se, but you want a nice, healthy dose of color on them.
Yeah. Okay.
So you get them into the hot oil there. Just watch the pasta.
Yeah.
And
I'm on pasta watch.
Pasta watch. That's what we need. So here, yeah, exactly. So you're just going to kind of brown them off.
Yeah.
And a heavy pan like this is perfect because you can kind of get a bit of color on the outside of them. And then we're going to transfer them to the plate, get the sauce started, and pop the meatballs right back in.
Very good.
Yeah.
So talk us through the sauce, because we need to get going on that now.
Yeah. So the sauce is literally, what we were going to do is we're going to have 2 tins of chopped tomatoes, just for a bit of texture. Some tomato passata, and that'll kind of keep it nice and smooth.
Beautiful.
And 2 bay leaves, which add great flavor anytime you're cooking anything low and slow.
Pop in a bay leaf.
Exactly. And then what else do we have got? Dried Italian herbs. So that's really going to be...
So it's very simple, really.
It's very simple. But again...
Do you want this basil chopped?
Yes.
And are you putting in some red wine, or is that just for a glass you had earlier?
That's, yeah. That was just as we were prepping here, sure. The red wine is going to be... that's going to soak up a lot of the flavors that we've cooked here with the meatballs.
Okay.
So that's going to be the liquid we use to deglaze this pan.
Right.
So I'm just going to, so these meatballs, again, you just want like a tiny bit of color on the outside, nothing crazy.
So just a couple of minutes on the hob.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And just kind of when they get like a nice little bit of brown on the outside, that's fine.
And how long are we putting them in the oven for, and at what temperature?
When they go into the oven, we're going to pop it in at 150 with the lid on. Now, if you have a dish like this that maybe isn't as heavy, you can just use any kind of casserole dish and cover it with tin foil.
We've got less than a minute, Caroline.
All right.
Get going there.
So let's pop.
Because we're hungry, baby.
So you pop them in for how long did you say?
For 45 minutes.
Okay, so it
Slow
is.
and slow.
Slow and slow.
Yeah, I would never usually put them in for that amount of time.
Wayward meatball. So what we can do, Simon, if you want to get the one that's in the oven,
certainly.
actually, let's start off with the wine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So a little bit of red. You've got your passata, you've got your chopped tomatoes.
Passata, tomatoes, bay
Oh, the
leaves.
smell.
And the Italian herbs.
Smells, the
A little bit, you're going to put in some puree as well?
Puree.
Okay.
That just keeps
Lovely.
it going.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this bad boy.
A little this, and then the tomatoes just go, or sorry, the meatballs
Shall
just
I
go right
reveal?
back in. Let's do the grand reveal.
Okay.
So it goes in 45 minutes later. you
45
pop it out.
minutes.
Look at that. And the
Yeah.
cheese is oozing out of it.
Beautiful.
Cheese is
Look at
oozing out.
that.
I actually also added a little bit of Parmesan to the very top of that.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. Okay, that's a nice little trick, because that is gorgeous for a one-pot wonder to put in the centre of the table.
Exactly. So you can kind of just put the pasta
Proper
straight into your
family dinner.
bowl, and the starch is going to actually do a nice bit of binding for the sauce.
Lovely.
Look at these bad boys.
And it doesn't need any sort of sweetener, because it's just the passata sometimes can be a little bit bitter.
Yeah, you can put a bit of sugar in the top, or sorry, you can put a bit of sugar into the sauce if you want.
Okay.
I kind of find
It doesn't need it.
it doesn't really,
Great.
when you're cooking it slow, the flavors are going to stay nice and soft anyway.
Look at this.
Look at that.
There we go.
That is magnificent looking. Thank you so much,
It's
Caroline.
breakfast time,
And it's
baby.
easy. But look, you're
Very
all about the
easy.
easy food.
There we are.
Thanks so much, Caroline.
Bit of
Anytime.
garlic
That
bread
was
as
absolutely
well.
gorgeous.
Just
A
to
hearty
garnish.
treat. Don't forget, Caroline's recipe is up on our website as well. You can check it out if you fancy making this yourself. And you
Beautiful.
can check out the current issue of Easy Food magazine also.